Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kuntarkis. My name is Michael, and this episode is on the Mune'Har's civilization. So, welcome, Kuntarkis, and you've spoken about this alien race called the Mune'Hars in one of your books called The Book of Knowledge I Am Alien. What is the reason you want to do a podcast episode on them?
Well, Michael, my main reason is to share this knowledge of another alien race on audio, mainly because I think the podcasts are very, very popular. So there are still several million humans that either don't believe in aliens from another world or simply fear the possibilities that aliens actually do exist. I mean, let's be true of heart. If there are trillions of universes, and there are, I looked at humanity's past, and what I saw was misery and pain in so many ways. People would say, roughly 200 to 300 years ago, they would never think that there was a life beyond this planet Earth. This planet Earth is a baby compared to other planets in other universes.
Sure, so who are these Mune'Hars?
Well, the Muhars in many other civilizations and other dimensional world vibrations are best known as the universal explorers of new worlds. And it seems some of humanity has caught their interest. The Muhars have been visiting some of the people on this earth over the last 40 years. They have been researching some human genetics and their makeup of their entire human body, right down to their cellular cells. More interestingly, is in the research on the spirit body, even the energy source that keeps the physical form alive in a third vibration of solid matter. So they have, how would you say, they have adapted to the way we are in our manners, in our lifestyle, in our way of thinking. So they can actually research individuals and see what the spirit body actually does when it comes out at night.
Wow, and what do they look like in appearance? Human, humanoid, or something else?
Yeah, something else, all right. The Muhars do not have physical bodies like humans. Their body structure is less in density, meaning solid matter. Because of their overall diet, they do not create body fat, as they have gone far past in their own evolution of that negative emotion. As for humanity, this has become a major issue when it comes to negative emotions, which has created havoc amongst the human population. The Muhars have a much thinner body structure and more defined in body shape. On the average, being male and female, their body strength is around 2 to 3 times stronger than the average human. In their culture, discipline is the main factor in bringing up their young and follows right through their entire lifespan. Every single Muhar at a very early stage of their upbringing are taught either by their parents or in the schooling system a form that is quite similar to Tai Chi. They call it Buyanta, meaning overall body strength, and there's quite a few different styles. This Buyanta gives every Muhar a solid, respectful upbringing, as well in being a fully trained warrior if needed. They're all ready to defend their world or be of help to other societies beyond their own planet.
Just to go a little deeper in their appearance, what color is their skin and their hair? Do they have the same fittings like humans, like ears, nose, and how many fingers, like overall body features?
Well, I've got to be honest, Michael. If I think if a Muhar actually appeared in front of a human, I think the human would lose it and run like hell because they are very different. Now, the color of their skin is quite unusual in how a human would perceive it. Like we as people on Earth have different types of skin colors. Examples: pale skin, light brown skin, dark skin, black skin, red skin, even a tinge of yellow skin, whereas the Muhars are all 2 shades of colors. If we look at the back of them, it is a richer green in color. If we look at the front of them, it is a creamy light, yellowy color. Some parts of their skin has a fine rough texture, more so on their back area. It's like little lumps all over their body. Unlike humans, they have no body hair whatsoever. The interesting factor is their ears are very different to humans. They do not have earlobes on the outside of their head that hang. Their ears are shaped basically within the side of their skulls and a little smaller than ours. But their hearing is far more sensitive to human ears, and there is a protective cover over their entire ears. Their nose is similar to humans, but more refined in size, and only have one nostril, not two. Their eyes are similar to humans in shape, but have dark eyeballs with yellow irises, and can see in darkness as well as in daylight. Their eyes adjust automatically to their surroundings. Now, when it comes to their fingers, they only have 4 fingers, all the same length, but no thumb like humans do. And their fingers do not have nails like humans do. Their feet have no toes whatsoever and are flatter and slightly larger than the average human. When it comes to running, they are very fast and have the ability to change direction so quickly at any given moment. They also only have one lung, which is quite large considering the size of their body. What is most interestingly, if they need to take in a large deep breath, they can use that breath for a total of 16 minutes before they would need to take another breath. From what I have experienced with the Mune'Hars on a personal level, they are a race that are in total tune with their body. I suppose more so with their body senses. One of the amazing factors, they can slow all their body functions right down to less than 23% if required. And I was informed the reason they can do this, if there is a life-threatening situation, that also means it slows down their heart and in turn their blood flow throughout their entire inner functions. That is from a physical perspective.
And what about their mating rituals? Would they be very different to ours?
Oh, most certainly. They are very different to ours in many ways. First, the Mune'Hars do not have obvious exposed sexual organs like here on Earth. And when they wish to procreate, the male and female stand facing each other, and they allow their chest and stomach to touch, moving very, I suppose, slightly like in a circular motion. This goes on for a little while. It's like they're being aroused with each other, and little lumps on their outer skin increase in size to about 0.5 centimetre. The male oozes a thick white liquid from the lumps on his front body, and the female oozes a little clear liquid from hers. Once the two liquids mix, the colour changes by becoming a greenish-blue liquid, indicates fertilisation has begun. This transformed liquid is absorbed back directly into the female's inner body via the bloodstream, and within 3 to 7 days, the Mune'Har female is pregnant.
Wow, and how long is the female's pregnancy? Is it the same for women here?
No, it is not, mate. The Mune'Har female is pregnant for just over 3 months of human time, and when her offspring is born, there are no genetic defects, mainly due to their lifestyle. They have a very clean and pure atmosphere, as no poisonous chemicals are ever sprayed into the air. No spray chemicals are used in their food growing whatsoever. They do not use any form of drugs and only consume nutritious foods. The amazing thing about their food source, they have several hundred large dwellings for their people, which live in all those dwellings. But in the center of those dwellings are massive created like jungles that grow their foods, and everyone in each little city helps to keep all their food growing, basically looking after it, which is mainly vegetables, fruits, and a variety of nuts. Their population grows, well, naturally they decide to build another city, basically like the others, with their own water and food source, being totally sufficient in every way in every city. And they're all over their planet. As a result of their lifestyle, They rarely suffer from any form of diseases, nor are they unbalanced to the point where they are violent towards each other, mainly due to non-negative emotions being present within their genetics. So negative transfer of parents' genetics are normally non-existent. When the female is ready to give birth, she lies from her side, left, and an opening appears naturally by itself, slowly from where the newborn will come forth. Once the child is born, the female side closes up slowly and gently. That's where the male and female become both parents, the teachers to their child. The interesting factor, they only ever have one partner in their entire lifetime, and their lifespan is around 415 human years. The Muhars do not have time or live to time. Therefore, they see only the moment as the true reality of evolution.
What is their main consumption of food? Are they mainly into protein or carbs or both?
Well, their main intake is protein, mainly because they are full on vegans in their own lifestyle. One thing needs to be understood. Vegetables and fruits do contain a form of natural protein. Their fruits are quite different to ours on this planet. Yet in saying that, our fruits do also contain a lower form of protein, but not many seemed to recognize or research that fact in the scientific world. They do have carbs, which is natural in their fruits, their vegetables, their nuts. So it's sort of like a balanced, how would you say, it's a balanced lifestyle. But they do apparently eat a lot more protein. That is true. And their protein is very high in certain fruits, more so in fruits than actual vegetables, which is interesting compared to ours.
Yeah, and what about water or soft drinks or even alcohol?
I believe I may have said before, they do not consume water, but I do need to rephrase that statement, Michael. They do consume small amounts of water, absolutely no soft drinks nor any form of alcohol. They do create a liquid drink made from certain fruits that they grow, which to them is their delicacy. It does have quite a potent effect on their little bodies, which puts them into, let's say, a meditative state of relaxation, especially before they go to sleep. They are very aware when it comes to spirit projection. They see it as another form of existence in reality. They have mastered that ability and always pass it on to their offsprings. That is one of their main reasons that they have connected with humans on Earth, so they can see the similarities when we project our spirit body in our time of sleep. You know, it's like saying, do we have that knowledge to go out there and live a reality that could enhance our physical existence? Well, in most of us, we would have to say no, because we call them simply dreams. They don't. They call it the existence in reality.
So, since they understand the spirit, do they do any form of meditation?
Absolutely, they do. All of their society spend many moments doing a form of meditation which they call yuri, which means quiet time, just like the Mexicans used to do. The Mexicans would call it fiesta time, by having a sleep throughout their day. During their form of meditation, they project their spirit body outwardly and do things like they would do in their physical form. Spirituality, from what I have discovered about them, they are advanced quite amazingly in their own spiritual self and awareness.
Wow. Do they have schools for their children like here on Earth?
No, they don't have schools as we would see it. The parents are the teachers to their children in teaching knowledge and wisdom. What they do have are centres all over their planet within each of their cities where parents can take their children to, even leave them if, say, for a field trip, which can be from one day or many days, which is good education in learning all about their world, how they create their foods, and many other things. Each of their centres are built on, say, 10 acres with sporting facilities, accommodation facilities. One of their main teachings are to prepare food so their children grow up with that form of understanding. And that's something we should be doing here on earth, teaching our children, not so much at a young age, but at a stage where they can understand in how to prepare good, nutritious food. So it puts them into a state of awareness as they grow into a young adult.
Yeah, for sure. Does their society have the same kind of entertainment as on Earth?
Oh, not really, yet they have lots of fun in their communities. I think if most humans on, say, our planet observed their society, they would probably think they're very boring. But yet they do have lots of gatherings. They love creative things like dancing, very much into natural art. They do have competitions, especially their Buyanta, like our Tai Chi, meaning constructed forms. There are dozens of different styles in that art. They also love music, having many styles of music, and just loving singing or sitting and listening to others. They have many areas over their planet that have natural large rock formations, which they use to train not only their body, but especially their senses in self-awareness. It's like saying it doesn't matter if you are young or old. Every age group enjoys the challenges. But the thing is about these rocks are massive. It reminds me of the place on Granite Island in South Australia. The rocks are so huge, and yet their rocks all over their planet in different areas are very similar, but they're grey and whitish in colour, and they do have a bit of a rougher texture than, say, the granite. But they use them for training, for exercise, and for fun.
Wow. And what about their society when it comes to any form of violence? Can you give an overview?
Well, the good thing, Michael, no wars within their society. A very rare thing when it comes to any form of violence. It just doesn't seem to be an issue. They don't have any form of drugs or medications, and there is hardly any form of diseases, especially no corruption whatsoever. I believe the main reason there is no greed, because they don't have a monetary system, being money. The interesting factor, wherever there is greed, there is money. Take away money and it takes away greed. So they are a thought conscious being, just like us. The difference being they don't have any reason to be controlling, domineering, no need for vanity, no need for anger, no hatred, no sexual issues, because no negative conditioning or beliefs exist. What they also don't have is the need for lawyers. No hospitals, no police to enforce negative laws on its people, no insurance of any kind, no governments. So, in fact, no justice system as we have on earth. There is no need for such things because they have complete unconditional love for all, especially equality within their society. It always has been the parents who teach their children through their inner knowledge, which helps in such a big way for their children to grow without the negative self-created fears of conditioning. Then they all grow into balanced beings.
Wow. Are they, as a civilization, working or connected with other alien races? If so, can you name some?
Yes, they have joined, as I've spoken to you, Michael, about this, and it's also in my book, The Dream Assassin, Volume 1 and 2. They've joined what is called the Global Universal Treaty quite a while ago. And it was an alien race called the Doricans from the planet Doricaea. And their ambassador, naturally, Tang Yung. Now, the Muhars exist roughly 131,000 light years from the planet Doricaea, and in reality are existing as neighbours. The Muhars are 1.47 million light years from planet Earth, while the Dorican planet Doricaea is 916,000 light years from planet Earth. If you look at it from an honest, open heart, the distance between planets in different universes is just unthinkable in so many ways. Yet, the Global Universal Treaty has so many members with civilizations on so many worlds. Yet it has taken thousands of years for this to come about, and it's growing and growing more and more.
Wow. And how tall are the Mune'Hars? And do you know what brought them into their present evolution? Like, what species did they evolve from?
Okay, on an average, they stand at 1.2 meters tall, that being male and female. And from what I've discovered, they have evolved from the ocean originally from some type of sea mammal. I personally have always been fascinated by how nature from each planet, no matter what universe, it creates through living thought consciousness. Nature is truly alive in pure consciousness, and it creates over massive amounts of time living species to suit that existing planet. And from that species, it evolves through conscious thought evolution. In that long journey, we have the Mune'Har's present evolution. To be able to accept that form of understanding, let's say humanity, we all need to step beyond what we each believe, because most of humanity live in total fear, and we know who's caused that, and that's the elite criminals. Now, if we take it from their past incarnations to the present incarnations, why? Because self-knowledge is not taught to humanity. What we are taught is through the transfer of our parents' conditioning through their genetics, be it negative or positive. And that is not real growth. That is not individuality. If one ends up just being a clone of their parents, that is not positive evolution of any form of species.
Right. And have negative aliens in the past or recently attacked the Mune'Hars on their planet or in space?
The Mune'Hars are explorers of life, Michael. They are fascinated by different species. That's why they came to Earth, to study, to help humanity. And yes, there have been other species who have tried to war against them, but have all failed. The Mune'Hars are not aggressive in nature, yet they will defend themselves. What they have created for their defense is a shield of reverse magnetic energy. Simply put, a field of atoms reversed in their structure many times over. This shield surrounds their planet, which is approximately half the size of planet Earth, and keeps it impenetrable from any form of attack. Yet, the Mune'Har spaceships can pass through and return safely because the same field of energy is around their spaceships.
I see. And you mentioned that they have come to our planet. Can you elaborate on that? What is their purpose?
Well, their main purpose is to help realign the genetic information directly from the cellular memory in order to begin the process of accepting new information by awakening the knowledge that lies dormant within all human beings. Their main objective is to reawaken humanity from its own self-created illusion, for which all of humanity is responsible. This awakening can and will occur if every human individual allows themselves to accept an understanding beyond the self-created human ego. For it is the human ego that has trapped all humans into slavery by a higher sector of individuals, naturally being the elite criminals. They want to make us all zombies, and that is 100% truth. Now, to find out the in-depth of these elite criminals, please just Google the following: stopworldcontrol.com. That website tells the real truth of the massive worldwide corruption. It will open your mind. Do it for not only yourself, but for the future of your children. It is so important. stopworldcontrol.com.
So, Kuntarkis, is there anything else you wish to add about, to this episode of the Mune'Hars?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The Mune'Hars, they come to human individuals who want or are evolving consciously. Those wanting to bring love and peace to planet Earth. What is truly heartbreaking, governments are literally listening and working for these elite criminals to bring down humanity. And it is well known amongst hundreds of millions of people around the world that their objective is to reduce the human population by at least half. So it is easier for them to control and dominate completely in every way. Look at this as an example. The Muhars have a current population of around 27 billion. Their planet, Mune'Har, is half the size of planet Earth. I have been given the information that their planet could quite comfortably sustain at least 55 to 60 billion on their planet. You see, their civilization is not built on greed like the elite criminals on Earth. You should look up who owns the food industry, the car industry, the clothing industry, especially the elite banking industry. Then it will shock each human into some form of reality that the elite criminals, who are in fact mass murderers of the human population, and it has been going on for thousands of human years. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, these criminals incarnate always from the past to the present to create havoc, like wars which create huge, massive amounts of wealth and greed. But to the positive side, there is light at the end of this tunnel, and it's not good for the elite criminals. But for you as humanity will be simply amazing, as life as it is now will be 10,000 times brighter, with no stress, no worries, no diseases, no drugs, no greed, no elite criminals. In fact, no monetary system, no wars nor violence, especially no governments whatsoever. Hard to accept? Yet there are dozens of civilizations in hundreds of universes that live in complete harmony without the above. If they can do it, why can't we as humanity?
Since being consciously evolved, how long have they actually been around?
Well, that's an interesting question, Michael, because what I'm getting is a bit of confusion in what I've actually obtained as past knowledge. But from what I gather, they've been around between 8 and 9 million years.
I see. And what is the general family size of the Mune'Hars? Like, do they have only one child or several?
Well, there's no actually limit on how many children they have. They try to, how would you say, keep it to two. Now, there are some Muhars that only have one child, and not because the female can't have any more, it's because that's what they've chosen. Some have two, others have three. But I think it goes on a standard around about 4, which is very close to humanity.
Okay. Yeah, wow. And what is I think you mentioned this, what is the name of the Mune'Har home planet? And also, how would you describe its environment?
Well, the name of the Mune'Har planet is actually a little bit tricky. I'll just have to say it again. I'll actually spell it. It's Mune'Heye, Mune'Har, and I believe that's pretty close. And their environment, well, now if we go to their environment, they don't have the type of weather we have on Earth. You see, it's a really hard thing for scientists and for people to actually accept that here on Earth, as 7.5 billion people, we actually create our own weather because of our negativity and our thoughts. Our thoughts seem to be more negative on a percentage than positive. We always say, oh, look, like it's going to rain, it's going to be a miserable day. So it'll rain. If you say to yourself, here on Earth, I am going to have an absolute miserable day, I just know it. Well, you've set yourself up for a negative, miserable day. The Muhars don't think like that in their own evolution. They don't think from an emotional, negative, say, perspective. They seem to be very friendly, very helpful. Um, they love communication. They love to be able to embrace. If they see someone that they haven't seen for a long time, they'll spend time talking to them. So it's a very positive attitude. Their atmosphere would be on an average, this is an average, of about, say, 20 to 21 degrees, and that would be it. Now, the interesting thing is they don't sweat. They don't sweat under the armpits. They actually have what they call an inbuilt temperature releaser, which comes out of their mouth. It comes out like as heat. And that's very interesting. I've never discovered that before. Like a dog will sweat through the mouth in its own saliva and release its temperature. It doesn't actually sweat, and they're the same. Their skin is really strong compared to ours. They could fall up against, say, a sharper rock and probably not even cut their skin. If we did it, we would probably cut not just the outside, but deeply, because we don't have that type of strength within the actual cellular structure of our skin, where they do. Their skin in some parts of their body is very smooth, and other parts it's got like a rough texture. And it's probably because they were a mammal in the ocean millions of years ago. If you look at, say, rainfall, they have probably, I think it was nine actual heavy rainfalls per year. And when it rains, it doesn't rain just in, say, one part of their planet. It seems to rain on most of their planet. I don't know how in nature that would be set up. They do have massive lakes, and I mean massive lakes. And they don't have dams or anything like that. And what I said before about their cities are constructed like in a circle. And in the center of that circle, there could be like 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. And what they would have, depending on the size of their city, is like a jungle. But in that jungle is every form of food, vegetation that you could possibly think of when it comes to fruits, when it comes to vegetables, when it comes to even a form of avocado that they use a lot as an oil. But it's very different. The color of the avocado is not green, it's actually really white inside. And it has like a pinkish type of seed. And you can replant the seed. Once the seed falls to the ground and say the outer part of the avocado rots, that seed will start to germinate. And if they see it, someone walks past and sees it, it'll actually plant the seed. And what's really interesting is because they're evolved consciously, they seem to be able to know how much food has to be produced. And what's more interesting, they communicate with all their plant life. If they're walking through doing work, they will literally touch the trees and say hello. To us, naturally, we would say, that's a weirdo, because we don't do that. All we do is get up in the morning, have breakfast, go to the toilet, either argue with our wife or our husband or tell the kids off in most situations, go to work, come home and do the same thing again, where they'll go and spend time in their actual jungle and they'll walk all around doing things, cleaning things. It's just a part of their existence because they have no monetary system. They don't have strong winds like ours. They have very mild winds. And it doesn't get cold. Their temperature, which is really interesting, they don't have the type of temperature system we have here in, say, on planet Earth, where we have 4 seasons per year. They only have 1 season. And it's anything from 18 to, say, 20, 21 degrees. And it's like that all the time because they don't have a calendar system. They don't have a time factor system. So overall, it's a pretty balanced planet.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And have you ever met a Mune'Har in person? And what was that like?
Um, Very unusual, Michael. It was quite a while ago, and Kadi, this one being came with Kadi. I got to be honest, I don't remember it. It was a female, and Kadi civilization on Uplata, their planet, they have regular visits to their planet and to their planet, and they seem to communicate a lot. So they must be very, very close as neighbours. And they always pass knowledge on, technology. It's never an issue with Cadiz civilization as well as the Muhars when it comes to Cadiz world. But the meeting that I had, this female, Muhar, was very shy because she's never met a human before. And when I said to her, hello, she put her head down. And then I put my hand out and her head was still down. And then she very slowly raised her hand and placed her hand inside my hand, and I closed it very gently. And she looked up at me and she said, you are friendly. You have a heart. I am very happy to meet you. And from there, it was fine. It was great.
That's so special.
Yeah, it was actually very.
Wow. Now, what language do they speak?
Well, originally they spoke their own language. That's a long time ago, and I could not speak their language even if I tried. But the interesting factor is the language that they were speaking was similar to the universal language known as Sanskrit. And it didn't take long for them to learn Sanskrit, and they all adapted once they signed the global treaty. So now their main language is Sanskrit. They rarely ever speak their own language, and it's just fading out to nothingness.
I see. And do they sleep, and if so, for how long?
Well, the interesting factor about their sleep, Michael, they're not like the Nakarons. Nakarons don't actually sleep. What they have is little moments where they'll go and rest, and it may last anything from 15 minutes, say to half an hour. Where the actual Muhars do actually sleep. They have beds like we do in homes. They have furniture. They have beautiful little homes. A lot of their homes are actually round, and it looks like a giant football, which is really fascinating. And what's interesting is they sleep anything from, say, 4 hours to 6 hours. But that's it. But they still do what they call their meditations in a day, once in a day. It's very important to them. So yes, they do sleep, and they do sleep for the same reason as we as humans sleep, not just to allow the spirit to come out of our bodies, but to also rejuvenate our energy fields.
I see. Yeah, and speaking of energy, what power generation do the Muhars use when it comes to their planet and also to their space travel?
Okay. Interesting factor is, long time ago, they used to have the power generations similar, and I mean only similar to ours on Earth. But because of the Doricans having, how would you say, more advanced technology that the Nakarons passed over to them, they were permitted to pass them on to the Muhars. Now, in the last, say, 1.2 million years, maybe a fraction less, they have changed their entire system, and every system is portable within every single home, every single building. In other words, it runs only that home, or it runs only that building. And these are right throughout their entire civilization. And what they're actually run on is a form of crystal at this time. They do mine crystals, and they do sell crystals. Have a guess to who?
Oh, of course, the Hemazines.
Hemazines, that's right. They do. And they're actually quite friendly with the Hemazines, more friendly than the Nakarons, especially Kanag. Yeah,
So just so people know, the Hemazines are what we remember as the vampires
that's right. That's
on
the
Earth,
myth.
and they have
That's
their own. Yeah,
that's
they
the
have their own.
myth on Earth. Yes, unfortunately, it was written very negatively. How do you say by humans on Earth, and they sort of played on that right throughout human history, and a lot of it's not true.
Yes, of course. Apart from the main thing, which is they do feed by drinking blood.
Yes. Well, they can go to the Book of Knowledge and they can read what the Hemazines actually do now.
Yes, and I think we've got it here as an episode as well, don't we?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the Hemazines. So they actually are more friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And in fact,
Wow.
they even visit their planet.
The Mune'Hars, like
The
the
Muhars actually visit the Hemazines
Hemazines
planet.
planet.
And it
Wow.
has been known that some officials have visited the Muhars planet for negotiations, which must do about the crystals, I would say. And their crystals, by the way, on their planet, the Muhars, they're not green like the Hemazines. They're actually a very bright yellow. And they're a real beamer. In fact, they have far more power, which is interesting, than the Hemazine ones. And I think that's got a lot to do with the consciousness in evolution of the Muhars compared to the Hemazines.
I see. Yeah. Kuntarkis, why do you think the Mune'Hars, like many advanced aliens, have not made their existence broadly known to humanity up to this point?
Well, one of the things we have to understand that cultures right throughout all universes are very different. Just like if you look at planet Earth, we have so many cultures on this planet. And because of cultures, we have many, many, many hundreds of millions of different opinions. And it has caused massive wars within humanity over the last, say, 928,000 years. So the Muhars also have another thing. They are very sensitive when it comes to hearing. They find the way humans speak, not all, but many, aggressive. And they see that as being negative and they find that difficult to accept. So what they do, they come to us more so unbeknown to help us to grow consciously by realigning our genetic information and allowing us to enter into our cellular memory, trying to get us to grow beyond in awareness and form a knowing that the spirit that comes out of your body at night actually lives its own reality and can bring back that harmonized knowledge, not just rejuvenation in energy, but knowledge to help the human body also grow consciously. And I think that's one of the main reasons. They are known in their sector, and that's absolutely broad. I mean, it's massive when it comes to universes. Probably like, say, 15 to 20 universes, they are well known. But when we think about the trillions of universes, then they are like a speck in the ocean, more so.
Wow. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah.
Also, one other thing, my book called The Book of Knowledge, I'm Alien, is filled with knowledge, with so much information. It's 1,105 pages. And I wrote that to give, I believe, humanity a different view, a different opportunity to know that there are alien races throughout trillions of universes. Some aggressive, most very pleasant and very easy to get on with. So if you go to my website, www.etcconsciousness.com, you can actually, I suppose, browse through the books that I do have. And I leave it with you, Michael.
Well, yeah, and also just know that if you have a question for Kuntarkis based on this episode or any other, whether you'd like us to answer it in a future episode or you just want an email back or whatever else, then please contact us with kuntarkis@gmail.com. for any reason, please do. That's it for now. Thank you so much, Kuntarkis, for all that you've shared. My name is Michael Yon, and stay tuned for more.